Hey there, I'm Thanos. EMBOAR is intended for listeners that have finished reading Worm and are passively familiar with Worm's many fanworks. Fanworks talked about during the show may be spoiled during discussion, and if you're going to listen anyway, ignoring this warning, you will be balanced. You've been warned.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of EMBOAR, also known as Etch and Misha's Bad Opinions and Reviews. Probably the first and probably the only ever podcast on the internet and through reality that talks about Worm fanfiction. And joining me today is Etch.
Hello, I'm EtchJetty, also known as Etch, and I'm very happy to be co-hosting this podcast.
You know, we've talked about this podcast for almost a year. It's been 10 months.
Yeah.
We've talked about this podcast for a long time, and we're finally just going to do it.
We're making it happen.
We're going to talk about our really shitty opinions on Worm fanfic, and then we're going to hope people listen to it. All right. So,
what have you been reading recently?
What have I been reading recently? Damn, that's a loaded question. I've been reading the Cauldron Cupsness mostly, actually, because I haven't had too much time to read. So, the snips are easy, fast to consume, and easy. Most of them are easy to consume. If you're on the Cauldron server, you should vote.
I mean, this probably isn't going to go up until long after the cup is over.
Yes.
But
when it happens again, and you're on the Cauldron server, you should vote.
Yeah. And join the cup, too. If you're an up-and-coming writer, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I have been recently taking a look at Tway's fic, what's it called? Canary Meets Singing Robots, I think it's called.
The Vocaloid one.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, but it's kind of a lot of fun.
That's on my list with a capital L, the list that will go until the sun ends, probably.
But it's not, I have to say, my favorite currently updating fic is Felix Fortuna. That is just so good. It's just so purely entertaining. Felix Fortuna is a post-GM-ish fic where Fortuna
it's post-GM. You can call it post-GM.
Wipes her mind and sets herself up to live life as a child again in the Harry Potter universe, except her child self is very curious about her past and everything and works for Flavia de Luce, who's another crossover character. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's just the interactions are so pure, and I love every single bit of her dialogue and how she's interacting. And right now it's set during the third year, so they're trying to be on the hunt for Sirius Black. But in the meantime, they found this very cute dog who is in their secret base, and they're feeding him and helping him.
Yeah, Chardok is pretty good at doing things. Unless you want her to actually post the things she does, then that's impossible.
Yeah, and an enigmatic, I forget what it's called.
Enigmatic source of
is
knowledge.
Never updating. It's not going to happen.
She said it's never updating ever again. And I think this fic is also being co-written by Maroon Sweater, Perry, and Poe, right? I think that's what I heard.
I know Rune and Perry have involvement. I didn't know about Poe.
I think Poe is Chartik's Harry Potter fact checker. is what I've been hearing.
Yeah. Shout out to Rune for being involved in, I guess, 2 Worm HP crosses right now, which is Aspects, the 4-way crossover by Man Magnificent, which is insane, and obviously Felix Fortuna. I don't know how to pronounce words.
Fortuna.
And I'm also reading It Starts With One, because every single time I hear that, I hear, it starts with one thing.
I don't know.
I hear that every time, just in my head.
Thank God I am not the only one that hears that whenever I see that this screen's updated.
Yeah.
Okay, so Felix Fortuna. Let's talk about Felix Fortuna.
Sure.
What do you like about it? What are your bad opinions right now?
My bad opinions is that it's great, it's adorable, because she is so determined to do things without her power, which is also the key thing in Loaf, which is another one of my top 10 favorite Worm fanfics of all time.
I love
it. It was
Loaf.
actually the second fic I ever read. And in both Loaf and Felix Fortuna, she wants to prove that she is not just her power. And in Loaf, she does that by trying to bake bread without using her power, which
And
goes horribly,
stealing
so
a
horribly
giant
wrong.
sack of cocaine.
It says flour on the side, see?
If you mix water
and in
into
this
it,
one,
it would become a dough. Maybe.
she's trying to avoid asking her power the question, where is Sirius Black? Because that would ruin the mystery. So she's just trying to go at it. And it's so wholesome while being a Worm fan fiction. And it's something completely original.
I think
There's only one
I think
other
a big thing. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, you can go.
I think a big thing with Felix Fortuna also is that there's Chartic brings like this snarkiness to a lot of to like every character that's in the fic. Like everyone is there's this like undercurrent of snark that really makes me smile and sometimes laugh.
Yeah. It's got like a great like vibe to it. Like instead of Fortuna being like, oh, well, I should pretend to be bad at my classes so people don't get suspicious of me having a power. She's like, I'm going to make everyone good at school. And she has this vast plan. And it's just great.
She has a 10-step plan.
A 12-step program.
12-step program on how to reform Hogwarts academic system.
Yeah. And there's only one other fic where someone with Path to Victory is in the Harry Potter universe. I don't know if Felix Fortuna is inspired by it at all, but it's called Path to Victory: A Severus Snape Story, which is a hell of a title. But I read it and it's actually compelling.
That's what people have told me too, but I didn't read it because I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Potter fan fiction.
Yeah, no, it's basically just a Harry Potter fic with
I was gonna say
Snape.
it was a Harry Potter fic with Snape with PTV. So I just wasn't interested, but then like the title it stuck out to me because I think I'm not in the Harry Potter fandom. I'm not like versed in the fandom at all of Harry Potter. But
Right.
Snape isn't exactly loved by a lot of people. Like,
yeah.
you don't see a lot of stories that talk and deal with Snape a lot. So it caught my attention.
Yeah. The fic's interesting because not only does it not focus on like Harry and Hermione and Ron, but it's like set in like the 70s or 80s when Snape is in Hogwarts.
Oh, so he's actually a student. He's not a teacher.
Yeah, no, he's a student, and he's like it's set right after like he fucks up with Lily Potter or Lily Evans at the time. And he's like, how do I win her back? And it's just like 1,800 steps. He's like, shit.
Here's how.
Yeah. It's really, really cool. It does a lot of stuff with magic and politics, and obviously Path to Victory is a very cool power. And now I'm sounding like the nerd crew. Very cool.
Very cool. I want it to be known that my least favorite bit of WOG when it comes to Worm is the fact that Walbo has stated on the record that that broadcast arguably beats Path to Victory. I hate that. I hate it so much. It's like Wibbles, I know you're out there in the great Canadian wetbacks, the outlands, the lands where no mortal men dare to tread. But come on, dude. You can't make a power whose job is literally to win and then go, oh no, but this other thing beats it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she loses to Mantellum, so.
She loses to a stingray. That is true. She loses
Yeah.
to a stingray.
All right. Speaking of Wildbow, let's talk about
Worm
fanfiction.
fanfiction.
Specifically, let's talk about Tabloid.
We're moving on from Felix Fortuna. Any more thoughts? You know, just other than-
Besides for read Felix Fortuna, I think it's pretty great, and you should all give it a shot if you like Harry Potter fiction, because it doesn't focus too heavily on the Golden Trio. And it's also a breath of fresh air for worm fiction, because it doesn't focus on Taylor, and
it's
a lot of them focus on Taylor.
Are we gonna do that right now? We're just gonna get the whole, bitching about more Taylor-centric glasses out of the way real quick.
Oh boy. I think we could talk a little about that during.
Yeah, we can do that during Tabloid.
Because Tabloid is a fic by lonsheep, or Babylon Sheep for long, who left the fandom after, I think it was called Memegate.
I don't know jack shit about this
controversy.
Yeah. We're not gonna deal with that. We're not gonna deal with that here,
but we are gonna deal with her fanfic called Tabloid, which is a OC fic about a photographer with a stranger, like 3 or 4 power, who just kind of lives and exists at the same time as Worm. And it's a really, really interesting take and exploration of the world and setting, as well as like some of the repercussions of Taylor's actions.
And more than that, Tabloid himself is a very fleshed out character.
Yeah.
Which is like something that a lot of fics that deal with original characters, they struggle with that. They don't. A lot of original characters sometimes are just there for mouthpieces. Sometimes the original character might as well be called a self-insert, But
sometimes the self-inserts are also somehow not interesting at all, and maybe that can be said as a reflection.
Yeah, but so I have a whole rant on self-inserts, but that's
for another day.
That's for when I can say things that probably will get me banned from a lot of places. I think Tabloid is very unique because, well, first of all, Lon put in art after every
single chapter,
and her art style is very distinct. It's very unique. If you've ever looked up Worm fan art, 99
or even just the characters,
99% of the art the fandom takes as their mental image of said character
comes from Tabloid, comes from lonsheep.
Yeah, it comes from Babylon Sheep. The portraits of Kid Win,
Clock Blocker. She did.
There's
a lung portrait, which isn't super iconic, but it's there.
Well,
the Weld picture.
The Weld picture is pretty iconic.
Yeah, I'm like scrolling through it right now. Shadow Stalker.
Yeah, just almost any fan art, or 99% of fan art you see of Worm characters probably came from this fic. This is one of the OGs.
Yeah. There's a Lung, there's an Oni-Lee.
Yeah. So
Tabloid was the first ever fic I read, and it set my standards way too high, because it is an excellent piece that made me reconsider a lot of the original work. Like, there's this whole bit, mild spoilers for Tabloid, by the way, where the main character's sister is revealed to work on a musical in Broadway about the life of Alexandria. And, like, it's, it's implied to be, like, a kitschy, like, kind of retelling with a bit of, like, exaggeration to make the character, the person of Alexandria, look way better. And then when Alexandria dies, right?
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, spoilers for Worm.
Yeah, I mean, I think
if you haven't read Worm yet,
I think we're gonna have a little bit of
Alexandria dies at the end.
Alexandria
not even at
dies.
the end, like she's in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the poster. I forgot about this. I love this poster because this was what got me thinking about potentially writing like
a musical fic.
A musical for Worm. No, just like, look, I'm a very stupid person. first of all. So I can't do a lot of things that you would need in order to write a musical. But when I saw this poster, I was like, maybe we could do a jukebox musical. I don't have to be original. I could just pick songs. It'll work.
And then we only have one finished one, which is Lasts, which came out last year. Yeah, but the whole thing is that with this musical, once Alexandria dies and she's revealed to have been the chief director, his sister loses her job. And that's like a really interesting repercussion of Taylor's actions. That's like, oh, of course the propaganda film actors would lose their jobs, but like I don't think Taylor ever thought of that or even like considered for a second that people would.
Okay, but Taylor doesn't think of a lot of things. Let's be honest.
Taylor doesn't think of a lot of things. Taylor doesn't think of anything besides for shooting babies.
I do want to bring up this point about Tabloid because it offers such a unique perspective on the aftermath of everything, and I think something that Tabloid does for people who do read it is that it challenges the protagonist classes that a lot of people in this fandom have on. So I like if you notice that. A lot of people in this fandom, they like to write about Taylor. They like to read about Taylor, and it's always Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. And there are some people who can go to some pretty nutty extremes to defend her, I want to say. And I think Tabloid is good because it brings up this whole question of, why are you defending her? Every action has an equal opposite reaction. In her killing Alexandria, all of a sudden this affects this protagonist personally. I think that's a fantastic perspective to offer. And I think
100%.
Yeah, I think it's something that, this fandom could use a little more of.
Yeah. I mean, canon compliant works are so rare in this fandom anyway. I can think of like the ones that exist off the top of my head that aren't just snips. Like we've got Tabloid and wow, is that really it?
I can't put my work on there because it's not canon compliant anymore because I misread something because I misread something in canon.
Yeah, no. I mean, a vast majority of work in this fandom is like AU.
Not like
not that AU is bad.
No, not that AU is bad, but also the fact that some of them don't like canon. so some people don't like canon, and they kind of just they try to just change things in canon, or they don't have the hardest grasp on events and characterization and personalities, and they go ahead with writing characters or writing events that way, and it comes off as either disingenuous or just badly researched,
bashing.
Which I don't think that's always the intent behind a lot of it. I don't think a lot of people want to do that, but it's just they get the idea in their head that like this is what canon was about. And I think that happens if you read a lot of fanfic, because we have the ever-pervasive fanon.
Yeah, there's a big perception in this community, especially with the people who haven't read Worm, that Worm is this grim, dark, gritty, beat you down, like fuck you right up, shitty, dark, muddy world that's gonna chew you out and spit you out
right now.
And
I should write a fucking 5-paragraph essay for that argument.
Yeah, but what I like about Tabloid is that it takes that perspective, and even though bad things happen to the protagonist, in the end, he survives Gold Morning. Spoilers for Worm. There is an apocalypse. And shit sucks, but he's able to like save his sister, get out of there, and also the mild love interest, which is expanded upon in the sequel work.
Oh yeah, there's like a short one though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more romance focused, and it's not told from the same character's perspective.
And Babylon Sheep also just is a good writer in like a very mechanical sense. Like
Yeah.
Her
Absolutely.
her sentence structure, her word choices, her grammar, it's all top notch. I haven't finished Tabloid yet, but I've read through like I think half of it ish, and then I just kind of forgot about it because I have the attention span of a squirrel on crack. But what I read of it is just more importantly than looking pretty, the prose is very engaging.
Yeah.
Which is
and on the
always
subject
nice.
of looking pretty, Tabloid does something really, really interesting, which not a lot of fics have done before or since, which is instead of the usual PHO interlude, it has stuff about like this shadier website forum which the main character goes on.
Because they exist, right? Like I like how it acknowledges there's a bigger world beyond what we've seen in canon. PHO is not the only site that talks about capes. That's fucking absurd.
We have two sites for like fan fiction about Worm alone
that is
in real life.
Impossible. I mean, even just there should be like 101 subreddits for different capes. There should be thousands and thousands of Facebook pages. There should be text groups. There should be forums dedicated to cape shit.
Yeah. I'm nodding right now. I don't know why I've been nodding, but you can't even see that.
But people obsess over PHO, and it's weird. I think, and I don't think people utilize PHO the way it's intended to be utilized, but that's a different story for, whenever we want to talk about PH overlord or meta, I guess.
Well, the TG episode is going to be a hell of a long one.
We're gonna record on TG's time, meaning 12 hours from us.
Oh boy, this
Literally
is a
the
great
other
idea
side
to
of
start
the
this podcast.
But yeah, Tabloid is very good from what I've read of it. Obviously, I can't speak for anything after whatever chapter I was on, but
Yeah. No, I highly, highly, highly... Tabloid was what hooked me into Worm fan fiction. Because I read it and I assumed everything else
was like that.
Yeah.
It
wasn't.
I have the opposite experience. I started with copacetic. And
I don't want to like bash.
I'm not going to bash on
right now.
copacetic, but I will say this: is that I'm not sure if this is bashing, but copacetic, the first like dozen chapters aren't good. They really aren't. There's a lot of errors. The prose doesn't flow that well. It's not as engaging, and I think the thing that made me drop it the first time that going around was Danny triggering. I think was in one of the interludes.
I don't even remember that.
Danny triggers with like an ability to only protect Taylor or something like that. So I read that and I was like, well, this wasn't that good. Is this like the quality of everything? So then I did some I did some searching. I found this.
It was.
Well, I mean, the next thing I read was it was a flavor of the month kind of deal, a fic called Ziz. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, I loved that one.
Yeah.
That one was so much fun, especially the bank fight.
It was that's like a really fun fic, but it's what I would call either a popcorn fic or a flavor of the month fic. It is the alt power of the month that everybody gets into. It's because it's easy to digest, it's easy to read, and it was literally Taylor as a fucking Seymour Light, so she just fucking stomped everyone,
Yeah.
So I read that and I was like, this is okay. I mean, I like this. I like this because I was fresh off of reading Worm like twice. I think that was right after I finished my second read through of it.
Oh, really?
Because I got to the end of Worm and I instantly went back to 1.1. That's just what I did. I finished Gold Morning. I was like, well, I gotta do it again. Because that's just shit I do. And I was like, because I was still hankering for Taylor, because I was because
a lot of the fandom still is.
I was one of those people where I finished Worm and I was like, I love this character. I care about her because I spent this whole journey with her. So when you first get into Wormfic, it's just you in your mind. It's just I want a happier ending for her. I want an easier life for her, and it's just that kind of thought that when you go into reading and writing it. Thankfully, I didn't start writing fan fiction right then and there, because if I did, I guarantee you I would have produced like a very generic Stations of Canon alt power fic.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even
Coming
alt
from
power.
that place, I was there.
Yeah, I like a lot of the fandom have been there or are there. And I think
what helped, I think Tabloid helped me break up with Taylor, relatively.
breakout.
Like, a breakup is a metaphor, because I was still, a lot of us were still attached to her character.
Oh yeah, it's Walbo
And-
wrote such a compelling character and managed to place us in her mind so well, and just I adore it.
Yeah, but Tabloid and Loaf were both not about Taylor, and I think that really, really helped me
Yeah, they really helped
break
you.
out of the mindset of
Yeah.
I want to see more of this character, because it helped me realize that at the end of Worm, her story was done.
Yeah,
And like even if she kept living,
it wouldn't.
that's not a story.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same. I mean, I think I can't really say what broke me out of the Taylor-centric line of thought. I think it was NaNoWriMo when I had to start writing, because I finished Worm sometime, I want to say in March or April of last year. And then I was unemployed then, as you know. And I went on the fanfiction subreddit and I looked at the index, and I just went down the list. I went down from 2017,
I did that too.
2016 to 2018. I just went down the fucking list. And that took like a couple of months. And near the end
I
of
think
that,
I read everything on that list except for Gate Crash and Wake, which I cannot get through. But
I think I skipped a pretty large chunk of it, actually. But when I got to the end, it was right around when NaNoWriMo was starting. So I was like, why not? Let's just write something. And
from there, birthed Sunspot.
yeah, from there, because I didn't want to write about Taylor, because I was thinking to myself, like, I feel like I can't respect the character enough. Like, I can't get her characterization well enough, and I don't want to try. Not that I don't want to try, but it's just I was afraid of fucking it up, which seems really silly in hindsight.
Yeah, I should have been afraid of fucking it up. I ended up killing her in the bank fight. No one read my fic Through the Looking Glass. It's bad. But we're coming up on the half-hour mark.
Holy shit. But
And I think that's a
yeah.
decent length for this pilot. So let's talk about quick shills, because I feel like we've had a great discussion.
Quick shills. Oh, man, quick shills. You mean once again, other than the Cauldron Cup snips, which people should read. Let's look down bestsellers. Let me shill myself and 11 other people. Taylor's in Name Only is a fic that is being written by 12 different people.
Not me.
Not much. It's about a bunch of fanfic Taylors getting dumped into, canon, and we had
While it's been attempted before, it's never been this collaborative.
It has been attempted before, and I think those were the weirder Taylors, because those were Taylors. There was an old fic, so it's like the one Taylor I remember was Banshee, because I actually read Banshee.
Yeah, the Warframe one.
The Wormfic Banshee, and it's
The Warframe, I mean.
the Warframe. Yeah, the Warframe cross. It's actually pretty good, but that's a different discussion.
Different day.
It starts with one by Discreet is good.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Discreet
It's so good it'll make you wonder, hey, wait, am I reading original fiction? Because someone on Space Battles asked that question. I'm going to drink some water.
Someone on Space Battles asked what? You cut out.
They asked, wait, this story is so disconnected from Worm. Are we reading original fiction right now?
I think Discreet.
Boy, oh boy.
Discreet did pop into the Discord and was like, "Hi, I tricked people into reading original fiction."
Yeah. My voice just did a little Bobby Boo there. Conference call. Everything by Pachycephalosauria or Packy.
Oh, are we just showing people that haven't even updated?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at my Discord friends list right now.
These are the people you should read and
Yeah.
then tell us to talk about, because we'll have a better time talking about it.
Yeah.
Damn, it's been like a hell of a week for me, so I haven't really been reading much, which kind of sucks. What if I don't? Okay. Can I load this up without looking at highest rating and just going at updated? Yes, I can. I'm trying to see just things that have updated in the past couple days. Apparently, Intrepid's
I'm not going to
updated
recommend
in the
my
past.
stuff because it hasn't updated in months and I don't have anything ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend Space because it's pretty good.
I need some space.
I enjoy it. I need some space, yeah.
Some space, yeah. That's the thing that I should write more of every time that people a fact that people remind me of every time I show my fucking face anywhere.
Oh, and cyborgs are pretty cool. That's a fun one.
Cyborgs are pretty cool. I have heard good things. It's good when Perry like sings praises about him.
Yeah.
So that's something
I read it and I was shocked when the first chapter was an extended Austin McConnell reference, and I loved it.
I don't know what that is.
I was instantly hooked at that time.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, there's literally a link to the original video that he parodies.
Oh,
in the
what?
First chapter.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll have that to look forward to.
And finally, Life Bends Down. I haven't read it, but I'm gonna recommend it for the joke.
Right, Life Bends Down. Okay, this probably will not be happening by the time this episode goes live. But if you are a part of the Cauldron Discord and you want to inflict anime onto Maroon Sweater, you can read Life Bends Down. And I think what was the wager? Not the wager. But
for every chapter, she watches one episode of anime.
Yeah, for every chapter of Life Bends Down,
you have to comment after reading each chapter.
Yeah, that someone reads and comments. Then she will watch one episode of anime.
Yeah, there's a special channel in Toy Box right now.
And, yep, she's already watched great things like the fucking incest thing. What is that even called? I don't know.
Oh, no.
I know Six sent me an analysis. Domestic Girlfriend. That's what the anime is called. And if any of you know anything about anime, is that if you have a title called Domestic Girlfriend, there's probably problems.
Yeah.
But then, but sometimes it's also fun because someone suggested she watched the movie Redline, and Redline is a beautiful, beautiful movie. But that's not worm fan fiction.
Yeah, it isn't. And
anything else?
I don't know. How do we end a podcast?
Like this. The podcast is ending. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you for listening to the first episode of EMBOAR. This probably won't go anywhere. We have been EtchJetty and
Misha.
And we thank you so much for listening. Read fanfiction, write fanfiction, read Worm. Don't read Worm. It's all up to you. The power rests in your hands.
But you should read Worm. You should read Worm.
Yeah. Thank you and good night.